With us now, Bakari Sellers, CNN political commentator and former South Carolina Democratic State Representative, and Maura Gillespie. She served as press advisor to then House Speaker John Boehner, and she's the founder and principal of BlueStack Strategies. Bakari, since you're in South Carolina, I want to start with you. Losing is one thing. It's bad. Losing to, like, literally no one or anyone else, how bad is that?
Yeah, that's bad. I think the only thing that's worse than losing to none of the above is running unopposed and losing that race too. I think Nikki Haley has the momentum in South Carolina. I'm not sure many people understand the primary or caucus system in Nevada. I don't think many people are paying attention to it. I apologize to John Ralston, who would get upset at me, or Ralston, who would get upset at me for saying this, but Nevada really doesn't matter in the larger scheme of things, particularly for Nikki Haley. And I think she's actually gaining momentum here. I think she's doing events around the state here. People are talking about the race between her and Trump here. It's the buzz here. I mean, it's the biggest thing going on here other than college basketball in Columbia. So it is a huge, huge item and topic, but I don't think coming in second to none of the above is going to do her any favors.
I'm interested to hear Bakari say that Nikki Haley is getting momentum in South Carolina, because Bakari and I have talked about this a lot over the last few weeks, and he was bearish on Nikki Haley in South Carolina. Now he says he's seeing some stuff there. What do you think she does now? What can she do over the next few weeks?
I think she doubling down on her commitment to be in this for the long haul. You know, Trump has a lot of legal issues that have been coming out and bills to pay that, you know, the GOP is struggling to fundraise, and she's doing really well in fundraising on her own. So I think capitalizing on that and showing that momentum and showing donors that there is a viable option, because I think largely when you're looking at, you know, again, the RNC struggles and the fundraising issues that are happening, Donald Trump is fundraising for one person, himself. And that money is going to his legal bills. It's not going to other candidates in the GOP. It's not helping the House majority expand. It's not helping senators take back the Senate. And so that money is largely being out fundraised. You know, Democrats are out fundraising Republicans, and we've seen that. And so Nikki Haley can prove, hey, I'm worth investing in. I'm worth donating to.
So, Maura, you're a creature of the House, and I say that with admiration.
I am.
Like
That's
that.
right.
I don't mean that pejoratively. I mean that with admiration. What happened last night was just a debacle. I mean, counting is hard, but it's not that hard, right? So what are the main lessons you take away from what we've seen over the last 20 hours?
This is what happens when you have a Freedom Caucus member as your Speaker of the House, who did not bring over any staffers who have institutional knowledge. He didn't want to have anyone who has experience in leadership. That's a net, you know, loss for him, because not having people who are familiar with member services and the importance of doing whip counts and getting out there, that's a real struggle and a real weakness for Speaker Johnson. And again, their inability to count and prepare for, again, you don't bring a bill to the floor if you're not there on it, if you don't have the votes. And so, again, I think it's his lack of experience, and he's been really timid as a speaker and not wanting to put things forward, and he did this and he lost.
Is his job on the line?
I don't actually think so, because it's already been so clear that, unfortunately, Republicans are failing to govern and to throw the House into another round of chaos, as they have already this year or last year, isn't to their benefit.
So, Bakari, I know Democrats were standing there literally cheering and laughing at all of this, but their priorities aren't going anywhere either. The bipartisan border bill, which a lot of Democrats had a lot invested in also, that's dead. Aid to Ukraine, which a lot of Democrats care about, very much in jeopardy. So what do you see happening now?
Well, first of all, I think there are a few things. One, Speaker Johnson's inept, he's incompetent, and he can't count. And I don't think we have to go back that far in history to see what an effective speaker was, and her name was Nancy Pelosi. He lost more bills in one night than Nancy Pelosi lost in 2 terms. And so let's put that into perspective. The fact is, I don't think Democrats are celebrating the failures of the Republican Party. In fact, we wish we had 2 parties that could lead, who had ideas, who could debate policy, but that's simply not the case. I mean, it doesn't take a lot, John, for me to remind people that Republicans not long ago were going to replace and repeal Obamacare. And what have they done? Absolutely nothing. And now they want to talk about immigration, and when you have a bipartisan immigration bill that gives conservatives what they want in the bill and forfeits a lot of things that liberals have been asking for a long period of time, only for that to be stunted, it shows that the Republican Party is not a real party when it comes to policy. Look,
how much of it?
Chuck Schumer
Go
is
ahead.
going to pass funding for Ukraine, Israel, and he's going to pass those spending bills. It will pass the Senate. It will come to the House, and I believe it will pass the House. But Mike Johnson, it really does. The job is literally too big for that man. Maybe they should try a woman.
Maura, if aid to Ukraine and Israel gets to the House floor and through the Senate today, and we'll have an answer to this question later, all of a sudden, I mean, the question is upon us today. Do you think the House takes it up? Does Johnson put it to a vote? Does it get through the House?
The bigger question is, does Johnson bring it to the floor? I think that's the first hurdle to get through. If it gets to the floor, I do think it will pass. I think there are enough common sense Republicans. I know that seems like a hard term to wrap your head around, but I do think there are enough that understand the importance of getting this across the finish line, and to what it says to us as a nation, but also to our allies around the world. It's for our security as well. And I think those members on the Republican side will really hone in on that messaging and hopefully be pushing Johnson to bring this to the floor. You know, they can continue to harp on the border stuff and push Biden to use the powers he already has. They can continue to message on that, but this is immediate need, and it needs to get done.
It is interesting. This does set up that aid to Ukraine hinges on the decision that one man will make, one man who has had a rough go of it over the last few weeks. It'll be interesting. Maura, great to see you. Bakari Sellers, thank you as well. Rahel?